meeting held on December 16th, 2025. Okay. That's about another set. Oh, that is good. Okay, okay. Approved minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting held on December 16th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, supervisor's remarks. Okay. So I'm going to read this because I do things in writing. Please bear with me. So, it's kind of hard to tell from our agenda, but we're going to be dealing with a couple of items and policies that are before us because some of the board members concerned about the way I've been doing my job. The residents of the township elected me to be the supervisor, not any of the other board members. But now some of the members have decided they would like to remove some of my responsibility. This is even though most of them are here only infrequently and have neither the bandwidth nor the knowledge I have about what goes on in running this place on a daily basis. Admittedly, I've got a lot of help. John Sharp is an excellent treasurer and has given me a lot of advice over the months I've been here. And I trust him to be the voice of reason when it comes to how we're spending our money. Tony Brabant has worked tirelessly to put the clerk's office in order, and I've also spent a lot of time seeking her advice. I have a great staff: Linda, our office manager, assistant treasurer, assistant clerk, and anything else we need help with. Bill, our assessor, an IT guy, Chuck, our zoning enforcement officer, and Rick Nieper, our property inspector. I've been very lucky to also have my deputy, Rick Klein Schmidt, as well as Donna, Elaine, and Amanda to ask for help. And although some people have criticized my supervision of them or stated I don't have enough experience to be a good manager, my philosophy of letting professionals get on with their duties without micromanaging them seems to be working just fine. Since I've been here, I've never heard any resident complain about their abilities or performance. I'm very lucky. With respect to the trustees, I know you all have full-time jobs and are doing this because you want to give back to the community. But none of you, including Jeff, who frequently comes in, are in the office every day. You don't see the problems, make repeated judgment calls when our employees have questions or suggestions, try to figure out how to repair the building, or field the phone calls complaining about not being able to get a hold of anybody. I'm essentially the go-to guy for everyone and everything, unless it deals with something involving clerk of the treasurer's offices. And I'm not amused that some of you apparently think it's fine to cut me off from decisions or hinder my ability to do the job I was elected to do because you don't like my tone or my refusal to just go along to get along or whatever else you disagree with me about. So far, a number of board members have verbally assaulted me in private twice. One at the member board meeting after everyone had left, and one last Wednesday during closed session. I'm not going to talk about what, except for some of them asked me if I would want to remain supervisor. Some of them actually told me they had a replacement already lined up. Some of them accused me of personal animosity towards our contractor partner, which is not true. And actually a couple have agreed with the fact that if I was working for them, they would have fired me. Of course, that last comment is ridiculous. None of the board hired me. Residents did. And strangely, most of the ones I've talked to have thanked me for what I'm doing. So now, I mean, some of the stuff has occurred in private. I gather, I'm not quite sure if it's because no one wants to air any of our dirty laundry or the problems I found with our policies or ordinances or our failure to follow them. Not to mention the other challenges we have. Try to minimize them when we're sitting here too. But democracy dies in the darkness, so I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not sure whether some of the board actually comprehends the requirement that apart from certain matters involving attorneys, everything we do, every bill we pay, including our outrageous attorney fees, and every policy decision we make is right out there for the public to ask about and to know about. It doesn't require FOIA requests to call me and ask me about what's going on or my opinion about something. A lot of people do. Nor, some comments, am I about to nor am I about to stop acting or thinking like an attorney when I figure out our problems. I'm not the township's official attorney, but I fully intend to keep using all of my abilities to serve you. I do not intend to let anyone hinder my ability to help us write good ordinances so that they meet the public's needs, help save money on lawsuits and other attorney fees the best I can, and make sure that we are complying with all state laws and regulations, which we have not been. Essentially, all of you are my clients in a way, and I intend to keep providing you with the best service I can. Let's see. The assertion that I should not be one to keep track of the attorneys or supervise our contract partner when she wants to ask for advice, because I'm an attorney, but I'm not the township's attorney. I find that kind of odd. That's kind of like telling me I'm not allowed to criticize a babysitter for leaving someone else's kids alone simply because I have my own. So I'm not going to be quiet and let this place turn into our neighbors in Scioto. I'm very happy to share power, but I'm going to fight when you try to take it away from me. And I'm not about to have you browbeat our employees or threaten them that they are violating our computer policy. You know, for people who keep telling me that you don't want this place to turn into Scioto, some of you are doing a wonderful job of getting us started down that path. Thank you. Okay. All right, approval of agenda. So I have some changes. Action item D, we're going to get rid of because the Parks Committee does not want a recording secretary. We're also going to get rid of F at the request of our Planning Commission chair. That's like a moratorium on data centers. We are going to talk about that. I did leave something in all of your mailboxes about that. I think that's it. No, about so we're not going to deal with that this time, because originally Tom had wanted us to, but then he changed his mind because they want to deal with it in the Planning Commission. But in case you want to read something about the data centers, it seems a lot like what I learned this summer. So it's good information, and we do have to do something about it pretty quick. Okay. But anyway, okay, so where are we? Okay, so that's what I have to change for the agenda. Striking D, action item D, and action item F, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I have an addition for H under 11. I'd like to talk about our retention or possible termination of Catherine Hopkins from Asher Kelly. Concerned about conflicts of interest and giving the supervisor personal legal advice and also represent the township. I think it's high time we talked about it as a group.
Is that under 10 or 11?
I was going to put under 11H. 11H, sorry.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Or possible action.
And I'm sorry, Grant, can you repeat the key components of that?
The Catherine Hopkins has given Mike legal advice on land division question that was before us in November. She was first pitched to us as being an expert from the Supreme Court research capacity. So special topics she would be able to do. We knew she was not necessarily having municipal experience. Right now, it looks like she's been doing quite a bit of municipal experience. I find it being a conflict, but she's given personal legal advice and also going into the municipality area, which is overlaying also with our other terms.
I think if we agree to have this on the agenda, we can talk about it at that time.
Fair enough. I'm trying to be responsive. Did I get you there? Okay.
session at the last special meeting. I thought we had a motion to add two.
It's B.
Yeah, it's 11B.
It's just B.
Okay. I didn't see that it was two on the same item. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll move the agenda for this evening as amended.
Second.
Discussion. I think I'll start.
I have a question about item H. We have some documents from that attorney for our consideration. In the event that we wanted to ask follow-up questions of that attorney, I'm not sure how this would work.
We can talk about it at the time we get to H.
Okay.
Okay, so any other discussion? I guess I will start with, well, we'll talk about it in H, I guess. We'll just wait. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay. Motion passed. Okay, call to public. Everyone would like to come up and talk to us for 3 minutes about whatever is on your mind.
Hello, my name's Dan Barker. I live at 7465 Webster Church Road. I'm a 49-year resident of the township, and a lot has changed. And I don't feel it's for the better. 40 years ago, no one would have come and told you that the 5 acres you own wasn't really 5 acres because of the county easement, so you can't have a horse. I can't believe that ever came up. 40 years ago, nobody waited 2 years for a driveway permit. And when you called a township employee, your phone calls were answered in a timely manner. 40 years ago, it would have been unheard of if a board member had actually participated in a defund the police march. A recall petition would have been circulated the next day. And 40 years ago, no township board would have been discussing limiting the powers of a duly elected township supervisor. I've talked to a lot of neighbors, some that were afraid to actually come here and speak tonight for fear of retribution from this board. But trust me, if this board decides to limit Mike's powers here, there will be a grassroots effort to rein in this board. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. Anyone else? Yep. Thank you.
Hey, I just wanted to say that everybody was elected to the board,
Microphone.
everybody was elected to the board by the people of Webster Township, including Mike. We all have faith that everybody's looking out for our best interest. I have been also a resident over 40 years. And you know what? When somebody starts new in any organization, there will be growing pains, there will be learning experiences, just to know, because political career is different than a corporate career. So what I would like to see is understanding of this with everyone. And so everybody has a little bit of understanding for people to catch up and not to attack each other. I myself support Mike and I know he will do a wonderful job, and I believe you guys will as well. So that is all I wanted to say. I have my faith in you. I hope this can be resolved and we can learn from the experience.
Thanks, Dita. Anyone else?
Hi, Dave Daly, 7223 Mulder. My only comment is, I think 190 pages for a packet is a little excessive for, you know, what should be a 2 to 3 hour meeting. I don't know, I mean, it's a whole lot of, it's a book. I don't know if there's a way that we can be more time-bound in these meetings, more, you know, a meeting, at least when I was working, a meeting was, it started on time, it had an agenda, it was time-bound, and it ended on time, and we got 2 out of 4 of those with our meetings here. So, anyway, hopefully we can work on that. And I've got some ideas if anybody wants to get with me. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Anyone else? Okay. Board. Yeah, sorry.
I thought maybe somebody else was going to talk.
Yep.
But my name is Karen Bright. I live at 3670 Barker Road. And I've been very lax in not coming to the board meeting, which I think a lot of people have because we thought we could trust the board. We elected Mike D'Angelo as the supervisor. Now, he has been knocking heads with 3 about $90,000 worth of lawyer's fee. As far as I'm concerned, that's township money that you have fiscally, irresponsibly let happen. And now you are trying to curtail him to not call a lawyer. 3 is a contract employee, which technically she's not even employed anymore. And I'm here because I do not want to see you reinstate her contract. She is supposed to be versed in the planning and zoning, and if she has to contact a lawyer that often, she's not qualified to have that job. She has derailed the Historical Society's plans by not even realizing what was on the books, trying to tell us we had to become a public use. It has to be owned by a government. That should be known, not even considered. She has delayed our presentations to the Planning Commission by 3 months because she wasn't there. She couldn't get the things together, and then she had the packet for over a month and did not give it to the Planning Commission before 5 days. So they show up, and Dita's talking to them, and they have no clue what she's talking about. Now, if one of her jobs is to make things a presentation so that the board or the commission knows what's going on, then she's failing her duties. I don't want to see her on the planning the 5-year plan. I don't want to see her there anymore, and I'm not alone. You guys have been snowballed by her, and I think that you need to just take a step back and let Mike run the township. There's no reason that you, who are not there every day and not fielding the calls all the time, you have been spared all of that. And now you want to cut him off at the knees. My 3 minutes are probably up. But I just want to say Mike's doing the best job he can with as little support of you as he gets.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to talk? Okay. All right. Board response to public comment.
Well, I certainly have some responses. I came to this meeting with the intent of not putting all of Mike's business out on stage because there's no reason to humiliate Mike. Our goal is to get over what happened and move on, and we developed a plan to do that. It's clear that what Mike is sharing with the community is not the truth. And that's disappointing to me because when we left the last meeting, I really got the feeling that Mike was going to take accountability for his behavior, and he has not. And so if you want to know the truth, Mike's wife created a conflict of interest for Mike. And it was a very ugly conflict of interest. And in that conflict of interest, Mike used the attorney for our township, who is also his personal friend, to give him recommendations about what he should do. That was a conflict of interest for us. We didn't appreciate that. That's not good. In the meantime, he is talking about how disappointed he is that we would say that we were going to fire him. I said that. That was me. And I said that because he yelled profusely at Shree because his wife has got some kind of attack campaign against her. Yelled profusely at Shree in front of everyone in the office with his wife on speakerphone, and then said, "Are you happy? Is that what you wanted me to do?" In any other workplace, that person would have been terminated. That is not a debate. So no, we can't terminate him, but we also cannot, in good conscience, have him supervise Shree. That does not make sense. Secondly, because we are questioning his decisions with his personal friend attorney, and because his wife has threatened to sue us, publicly threatened to sue us, we are not comfortable with Mike having information about some of the things that are going on. And so we have to protect you, we have to protect us, we have to protect Mike too. And that's why this is happening. The disappointment here is that Mike has taken no accountability whatsoever for any of these things. And yes, there's a lot of money spent on attorneys. And that is partially because of him and his wife. There, I said it. I'm sorry that I got angry, but this is ridiculous to me.
Okay. Yeah, a couple of comments. As far as pushing Mike out, I haven't heard, other than Shelley talking about that topic there, the only topic of Mike leaving has been by Mike. Mike has gone several times, 4 or 5 times, talked either in public or private about how he was leaving. So at the same time, he's trying to condense executive authority. At the same time, he may be gone. Last week, he mentioned it in front of two officers, and Peter Stevens, who was here. Peter Stevens ran against him in the Democratic campaign. So why on earth, if you're interested in staying, are you saying that last week? And it's been multiple times. So I'm not sure where it stands. But my interest, I got elected to represent the people. And with that variable that's there, I've also noticed the campaign that's often felt like a character assassination, which just was talked about. With all due respect, Karen, you should talk. Talk to us. I'm happy to talk to you. Some of the things you're saying, for our concerns, it's timeliness or that, we can address those. But to launch into a character assassination here, and there's been others, is inappropriate. I personally won't stand for it. I think Shree's a consummate professional. Is there anything we can actually do to improve or do whatever? She's an enormous asset to the township. We can all meet together. In fact, I would suggest you, me, and Shree are happy to meet with you and talk to you. And we can talk about what's going on. But to have it go on like this, I ask all of them, honestly, just talk to us. Any of us. Don't want to get there? Talk to me right afterwards. I'll give you my cell phone. We can sort all that out. Our interest is for Webster Township, period. And with that, the reason all this is going on, you notice the emotion. This is mild. There's other times where it's wildly emotional and erratic. Like I said, I was elected to represent the residents. So until the erraticism stops, or the erratic behavior stops, I feel it's our duty as a board, and that's by state law. The board oversees those issues. We can, by policy, give it to the supervisor. But it's not mandated by statute to the supervisor. So when erratic behavior begins, I'm going to stand up and take the hard questions, get us all in a meeting and talk, but I'm not going to collectively let all the residents be disturbed by that type of behavior. Mike wants to stay, he can prove he's going to stay. I've heard all of the options at this point. He's going, he's staying, he's going, he's staying. I never asked him to quit, not once. I thought he was emotional after the ZBA meeting that Shelley talked about, and my one comment was I asked the attorneys, can he take his time back and still be supervisor? Maybe he's going to take a break for a couple of weeks, cool off, come back, and nobody's worse off for that. But here we are. That didn't happen. It's going on like this. All the things you've heard, think about what you've been heard. We should talk. I'll talk to everybody. Because right now, I think it's one-sided. There's not enough talking going on. Probably too much on Facebook. Can't do it.
Anyone else?
I would like to echo and emphasize what Dave Daly said. I really like that a lot, David. Thank you. I would also like to say that I am in the office every day. Yes, I miss the occasional day. Sometimes I'm working off-site, but I know what's going on in this building, and I'm happy to meet with anyone, anytime. My phone number, my personal cell phone number, has been on our website since 2016. I take calls in the evenings and on weekends. Want to know what's going on? Give me a call.
Okay, thanks, John. Anyone else?
This is on behalf of Tony Vermont, Clerk Tony Vermont. She wants to address you all by saying that, as you probably heard, she'll not be running in August. The primary, she plans to finish out 2026 and continue to speak with the residents throughout the remainder of this year. Mrs. Whitney is also planning to retire on December 31st of 2026, after the dust has settled on the elections. You'll have some choices to make regarding staffing in the clerk's office and should be thinking about that pending situation.
Can you repeat the beginning of that? She said, what was?
Tony is not going to run for re-election.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you.
Okay.
And
Anyone?
she was appointed, which means her term ends at the end of November, basically.
Anyone else?
You got anything? I would just like to echo what Brent said. I'm always available. If somebody wants to call me and talk to me about what's going on. I talk to a lot of the gentlemen on Monday mornings when I'm there having coffee with them. There is some stuff that I've heard, just specifically this Monday, that was incorrect, that I mentioned. When people talk and when there's a lot of things that go back and forth, you hear different stuff and it can change. And the bottom line is, you need to go to the source and hear both sides of it, because that's not always true. I will also say I was at the Planning Commission meeting that the Historic Society permits and stuff came in. We had talked to Dita about some of the things there, and it was incomplete. And you could ask anybody on the Planning Commission. We talked to her about getting it together, and the application was incomplete. It wasn't an issue about something Sri did. It was an issue about that it was incomplete. And I've done stuff for the Historical Society. People that are there, they know I have. I'm telling you that there were issues, and it's not all Sri. She gets the blame for things that sometimes it's not her.
Okay, thank you, Joe. All right, so I'm going to address a couple of things. First of all, I don't intend to go anywhere. I do understand, like when Peter came in, I was joking, but I understand it. No one understands that, because I have a weird sense of humor. My other thing I will say is that, first of all, I don't agree with the idea that I have a conflict of interest because I asked one of our attorneys whether or not I should attend that CBA meeting, and I was told in front of Tony, it wasn't private, and Linda, and actually a couple other people, that I should not, because I basically could influence their decision based on who I was. So that's why I left after, my wife wanted me to listen to her talk, so I left to go in the other room. I'm not going to pick on Sri today. I'm just going to say, because I don't want to, that let's just say we got some advice that might have meant we never had to do any of that. We'll also say that my wife is not me. I'm not sure why some of you don't understand that. She has her own ideas. She has her own decisions. She can do whatever she wants. I can certainly be more forthcoming into it as to say, she doesn't want anything to do with this place anymore. But other than that, if she ever said anything, I can get on Facebook or wherever she does it and say it's not me. It's not that big of a deal. So I guess that's it for me. Okay. All right. Treasurer's report.
Good evening. page in the treasurer's report is the fund balances for the different funds. I think that the fund balances are all in good shape considering the types of funds that they are and how much money there is in them. I did want to bring to your attention on the check register, there is a $125,000 payment from the Capital Improvement Fund, which is where we paid for the culvert on Joy Road. I guess I want to ask this board if that's what we want to do. Historically speaking, culvert maintenance has been considered road funding. In this case, we did not take the money from the road fund. We took it from capital improvement. So tonight or some other time, whatever, I think that this board needs to be purposeful and deliberative as to how we intend to pay for culverts and bridges, especially since there could be some very expensive ones in our future. Let's see if I can hold. I wanted to talk a little bit about the tax distributions. You'll notice that there was something like, I'm going from memory now, dangerous thing, but something like $6.8 million of taxes that we distributed this month. And very, very little of that goes to Webster Township. Regarding the revenue and expenditures report, we're generally speaking, we talk about the general fund, which is one of several funds. We're 75% of the way through our fiscal year, which ends on March 31st. And we're 73% of the way through the expenditures as budgeted, as amended, excluding the transfer into the capital improvement fund. And that's all I have as far as highlighting anything in the elements of the treasurer's report. If there's any questions, comments, or advice, now's the time.
So I have just an observation. So I got the capital improvement budget in here, and I did put in the culvert, the new, the Joy. Was it Joy? Which one is it?
Joy.
The big one. I mean.
I know, that's Arms Creek.
Arms Creek. Okay. So well, I don't think personally, I don't think we should take it out of the road fund. That would just totally derail our plan. But that's just me.
Yeah, and that's what we had talked about at the very beginning of this roads topic, the big ticket culvert items. We plan to take it out of the general fund in a mutually agreeable way. But John, your number, is it the 124,000 for the Joy Road culvert? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Got it.
I rounded it up to 125.
Wasn't that, didn't we budget for that 2 years ago?
Yeah, that's what I thought we did.
That's part of the problem. We asked for the work to be done, and we budgeted for basically half that much because we're in theory going to get 50% of that money back based on a grant from Water Resources, if I remember correctly. But the way that the money accounting happens in the township is what you spend is what you spend. So even though maybe half of that's going to be reimbursed, it still shows up as an expenditure that we really didn't budget for this year. We budgeted for it last year and then 50% of the rate.
Okay. And I didn't know if you guys knew, I still have the outstanding for the Joy Road cover, 83,000. I think we're gonna get from the stormwater people. So I filled out the form for that, and hopefully we'll get it soon. Okay. All right. Anything else about the treasurer's report? Okay. So.
Is there a motion?
Yeah.
Motion.
You have the wording for the motion to pay bills and so on and so forth?
So I need a motion to accept I'll move. To accept the treasurer's report and pay bills, as well as those anticipated bills received before our next meeting scheduled for February 17th, 2026.
Second.
Okay. Any more discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Shelley?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so consent agenda. Actually, I'm probably didn't get off directed, but I pulled out the ZBA. Actually, John wanted to do it too. Pulled out the ZBA report and 11A. So that's 11A. I don't have anything for the rest of it. If anyone else does, let me know.
I would like to talk about the sheriff's report briefly. And I think we need to talk about the fire department. Is that on here? Yeah, DFB, if we could.
Do you want to pull them out, or do you want to just talk? We're not going to do anything. I guess we just talk.
No, I don't have any actions to take.
Okay, go ahead.
So, allegedly, there's a meeting scheduled with the 3 municipalities. It's been scheduled for Monday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 week from yesterday. The city is driving this. They would like to change the funding model for the interlocal agreement. I understand that our partners in Webster Township would like to also change some of the other aspects of the interlocal agreement. What I would like, Mike and Dan are on that committee. I would like us to give them some guidance as to things that we might be willing to accept with respect to the rate change or the formula for the allocation. I have some ideas that I'm willing to throw out, but I don't want to color anybody else's ideas. In case you're not aware, the funding model, ever since the foundation of our interlocal agreement, has been based on runs. And that's the way we've done it for decades. I can tell you from personal experience that when you do it on run rate, if your run rate for the last year happens to be higher than usual, and there's a big increase in the budget on the fire department, you get a double whammy, which can be very painful, and it's impossible to plan for, or nearly impossible to plan for. Then there's been some discussion by this board previously about perhaps smoothing out those annual adjustments by taking a moving average of run rate, so something on the order of maybe a 3-year moving average. So it doesn't change the ultimate funding share, but it smooths out the bumps. This year, Webster is in a very enviable position. We're on the other end of that because the funding increase for the fire department is not as big as it has been in the past, and our run rate was by far the smallest of the 3 communities. There was some discussion about perhaps a portion of the funding model should be based on readiness. There is, as far as I know, not a really good definition of what readiness means. I personally think that readiness could mean having an apparatus like a fire truck. And maybe it makes sense for the 3 municipalities to contribute to the capital allocation of the fire department in equal shares. Maybe not. The way we've about it before, it's always been based on run rate. There is a lot of talk about fairness. I personally think that one of the things that should be factored in if we're going to try and make it fair is that communities with a longer response time shouldn't necessarily have to pay as much as communities with a faster response time, because part of what we're paying for is how soon that we can get assistance to the place that it's needed. Interesting, I don't know if you noticed this, Dan, but or any of the rest of you, but in the run rate report that we get, there's 4 categories. There's one for each of the 3 municipalities, and then there's shared runs. In 2025, there were actually more shared runs, which is runs that we make outside of our service area, than there were in Webster Township. Perhaps equity might mean that we share the expense of those shared runs in even thirds.
Like shared up the Livingston, you mean, or something?
We go out of our service area in every direction. We currently lease our fire department, our fire stations to the fire department. We all 3 municipalities charge differently for our leases. Perhaps equity would mean that we each charge $1 and that's it. I don't know. And then there's some discussion about maintenance, things like cutting the grass and pushing the snow. Maybe the fire department should cut the grass and push the snow. Anyway, those are just some thoughts. I think that it's fair to say that the city's really only objective is to reduce their share. They would like to include things like taxable value, population, or square mileage of the service area. We have a 74 square mile service area, of which 2 square miles is the city. The townships have a higher population than the city and a higher taxable value. I'm not sure that that's relevant, but those are things that have been mentioned by the city. Anyway, I would very much like to arm Mike and Dan with what we think generally when they go into this discussion on Monday, so that they're representing what we think is fair as a board. I'm done talking now. It's your turn.
Well, I will just share for people that interlocal is composed of the city of Dexter, Dexter Township, and Webster Township. And for any change to be effective, all 3 of those entities need to agree. So if there's a wide difference on what some potential changes are, then it's more likely to not succeed than if there's some common ground. So I'm just sharing that as a FYI. And I guess I would ask, Mike, has the township received a formal invitation?
No, not for me. I didn't get anything.
Okay, I have not either. So, other than Sean mentioning that was seemed to be a common time that people could meet, I don't think everybody, but there's been no formal notice.
We're doing Monday.
I can tell you for sure Sean wants to meet Monday at 1.
Well,
It's the 26th, right?
6 days from now.
Yeah.
Nothing. Work.
26th.
Does that work for you, Dan?
I said I was available that
Oh,
day.
okay. That's fine. Yeah, I mean, I'm here. I mean, right.
Yeah, I'm just commenting that
We didn't get an invitation.
correct.
I got a couple high-level thoughts. I think fiscally, this is probably the greatest risk facing the township in the next several years. I think we as a board should plan for those options. Now, John, you made the comment that keeping everybody in the interlocal agreements is a key priority, and I agree with that. I also think that the city, seems like they're planning to possibly go or I don't think we can be naive on that topic. I mean, if that were the case, our fire bill would go up by roughly 20%. We'd go from a third-ish to like 50%. So one, I think in our planning that we have coming up budget-wise, we should think about that. Now two, this topic of readiness I find interesting. You know, readiness, I'm in the Marine field. I don't know if anybody's any Coast Guard folks are here. The Coast Guard motto is Semper Paratus in Latin. It means always ready. But that means both people and hardware. And I think, John, you made the comment, your greatest expense for the fire board is personnel in any given year. And I expect the city to push that point of view. Now, one thing I would be open to, though, is that we've done it on runs. If there was some scaling factor on some of the runs that may be equitable, I think that's something that may find reasonable. You know, maybe fire runs are a greater expense than some parametric runs, for example, or something along those lines. But then there's the distance case. You know, we've paid, I mean, Rick has often said we've paid extra for so long, our third, and our service is always long and we were underserved, we felt like. So now that they're changing that, it feels like as soon as they're paying what we've been paying for years, it's getting changed. And I think that point has to be addressed. Because I find, Sean's an engineer, I believe. Civil. So it seems like he's playing with the formula to get to the conclusion he wants of less money for the city. And you can't help but also be concerned about them being over budget with some of the decisions they made as a city. I mean, those two things I think should be brought up and let them address them and see if that's actually a concern or not. See how you can talk me out of being concerned about that.
Okay, thanks. I actually agree a lot with what Brent's saying, although I'm going to negotiate. Whatever, I will bring everything back to you guys, or we will, right? So Tony brought up something, I talked to Tony about it, and she brought up something really interesting, that maybe, so there's fixed costs and there's variable costs. I know you know all this stuff. And she thought perhaps we should actually get a company to go and figure out what that actually is for the fire, the fire department. And she gave us a better sense of, okay, we share the fixed costs, third, variable costs, maybe something else. So if anyone thinks that's a good idea, let me know. So she brought it up, and of course, she couches it in all the stuff that she could talk about it a lot more coherently than I can, but I thought that was an interesting idea.
John? Is that already in the report, or is that something we should hire somebody to take a look at?
Well,
I'm not.
No. She just suggested that maybe we want to do it.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what fixed versus variable is or how that's relevant. I mean, if a township run is using, 100% more fuel than a city run, that's a variable cost, but it's insignificant. I mean, the personnel is the single biggest expense, and the current staffing model is 2 full-time firefighters in each of the 3 stations, 24 hours, 7 days a week. So it's even in terms of manpower, if you don't consider the officers.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, once the main station is up and ready, the chief and his administrator, those will be at the main station. Should we pay a third for those people? Maybe.
Yeah, I would think that a study would prove that the fixed costs are a very high percentage.
yeah, exactly.
And, as people have been talking about, when we in Webster Township committed to building our facilities, there was a commitment from all of us, the townships in the city, to staff them. And that is a huge driver of the increase in year over year over the last several years to hire enough firefighters to drives the cost up, it drives enhanced service and safety and security for the community. And seemingly now that we've reached that point, which truly is a fair, that becomes a fair game. Everybody has a station, everybody has staff, and they can respond quicker across the board to help serve our communities. At this point now, there are people, others that are expressing concern about the cost and wanting to change it. Just seems like we should let this, run for a while and see how it works, but I'm not sure that'll be content to the city. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to highlight the fact that because we now have 2 full-time firefighters at each station, we have a capability that we never had before, which is we have readiness to respond to a second call while a first call is in action. So we don't have to send all 6 firefighters on a run. There can be people ready for a second incident in the unlucky events when there's more than one incident at the same time. We couldn't do that before.
Yeah, our firefighters are here. I was telling everybody else that Christmas morning, my wife and I woke up to a house full of smoke. It was actually the worst nightmare. Right? You wake up, the smoke, can't see. It turned out to be nothing. Our blower motor was out, but we called 911. And my wife Connie, they told her, take your stuff and get out of the house. Don't go back into the firefighters to get there. They were there within 6 minutes, 7 minutes. We had 3 tanker trucks, 15 firefighters, all within less than. They were all over the house. They actually wiped their feet when they came in, and then they left. But, once we found it, so the point about readiness is well taken. And I'd like to say they were all consummate professionals, every one of them. I mean, so the work they were doing was excellent. Doug was there. Connie knows Doug. Said Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas at 5 in the morning after that. So I'm all fully supportive of what they're doing. I just would like to hear more from Sean about the movement on the formula and the concerns about what's going on in the city. I think that's what he really has to address. Okay.
Anyone else?
I just think, we need to talk about it, because for the public that wasn't here last time when we talked about it, the initial thing that they brought us would have cost us, this township, approximately $100,000 extra, which would have been a savings for the other townships. So they could kind of push $100 grand on us and a savings on them. And we hadn't even seen it yet. So, I mean, costs have changed. I don't know about the 2 firefighters per, especially when Brant says 15 showed up, the 3 tanker truck.
Yeah, Sayo was there too.
So there may be more showing up on a call.
I mean,
than just the 2.
Shared runs works both ways.
Right. So, and I had a question, I did have a question. Shared runs, how are they charged? I mean, are they just covered?
So we give shared runs and we receive shared runs. So the folks from SIO that showed up to help Brant, that's a mutual aid that SIO provided to us.
So this is, so the share, I mean, when the shared, because normally we've been paying per run. That's how our current model is, but are those shared runs divided by all of us and covered, or are they just picked up by the regular number of runs that we have, and we're just saying those are shared?
They're excluded from the run allocation.
Okay, that's what I was.
Okay. Any more discussion just about this? I'm going to talk to John a little more about some of his suggestions and keep them in mind when we're.
Oh, there will be more meetings.
Yes, yes.
It's not one and done.
No, perfect.
Say one more
Yeah,
thing.
perfect.
So,
One more thing.
The city of Dexter is the only member of the interlocal agreement that does not have a dedicated fire or public safety millage. And my personal opinion is that part of the difficulty for them is that when they want to spend $1 on public safety, that dollar is competing with a whole bunch of other things that they could spend it on. I really see a lot of value in having a dedicated millage for public safety or for fire, because it takes away a lot of that tug of war. And I've made that recommendation to the mayor directly.
Thank you, John.
So, Mike, I just want to point out one thing. You have a meeting at 1 o'clock on Monday. That's lots of.
I know.
Okay.
So he has 2 meetings.
Yeah, if it's at 1 o'clock on Monday, there's conflict.
Wait, you're telling me I should go to Lhasa?
You're gonna say.
Mike, did you reply to this poll, the survey?
I did, yeah. Sorry.
All right.
Okay, so what's the other thing?
Yeah,
Sure,
you
I
wanted
have
to-
a sheriff question too, so.
Maybe I didn't see the right thing, but it looks like a November report, and where's the December report?
They're behind. So,
And in the past, the sheriff reports usually, not usually, they were always distributed to every board member by email. How are we receiving these reports now?
well, I get them, and I've just been giving them to Tony, so I can send it to everybody.
I would kindly request that when you receive them, just turn around and send them to the whole board.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, at one point, we asked about, we were looking at animal complaints, right? And I see that there are several animal complaints on there. Do we have a contact at the sheriff's office who can give us information about what they are?
Well, I could ask the road patrol lieutenant.
Would he be able to?
Yeah, he'll at least find,
yeah.
yeah, he can at least find whoever I can talk to
Okay.
about it. So, all right, I will make a note of that one. Okay.
One more thing, I'm sorry. Sri, you used to report some things that you don't. I'd like to talk to you privately about maybe adding some more information to your monthly report. We don't have to do it tonight.
If it's in reference to the permits, I have an easy answer. I only issued like 3 permits in December due to holidays and everything. It's very good to know. If it's something else.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Make a motion to receive and file the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Okay, passes. All right, on to action items. So the first thing is the invoice from O'Neill. Get to that. Okay, so I've got it on 135. So David signed off on it. They have done the work. In this report is also, because Jeff had asked, kind of a break. 135. So 135 is the invoice, and then, yeah, and then,
After all the losses stuff.
right, yeah. And then, so Rich was very nice. So I told him about Jeff wanting to like break out repairs versus the project. So he did that. So that's on 137. There's added scope for maintenance. So the big ticket items we all went through together. The south wall, there's a 43 one. That's for later in the evening. We're going to talk about like the, basically the estimate to repair from O'Neill for that. So I guess I would like an approval to pay. Only item.
I see the 110, 224, I don't see 135.
Oh, you don't have it?
I have a document dated 1/6/2024. 7/2026.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it was 135 was the number on our packet.
Page 130.
Page 135. Sorry.
It is 130.
Yep.
That's not right.
Are you good, Dan, or? I move to approve the O'Neill invoice.
I'll second.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, Fran?
Aye.
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 Okay, very good. The road committee reappointment, this is for Dave Daly. Because we appointed him for a month, less than a month.
Less than a month.
Less than a month.
Less than a month.
Shortest appointment in history.
So, Elaine, do you have the normal term?
It was a trial period.
Yeah, and he talked about shingles.
Is it right?
You want to do it, John? You did it last time.
No, I'll let somebody else have it.
All right, I move to recommend Dave Daly for a 2-year term to expire at the end of December 2028.
Second.
Okay. All right, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. Moving right along, let's see. Okay, so, a backfield rental. This is actually not our backfield, this is the backfield behind the fire department. I'll talk about ours in a second. So Dean Haas's, let's see, he's the one who's paying the backfield and paying us the money. So he has, this is our, the old one. He came, great, because I just saw one that was $450.
The old one's the one I saw.
Okay. All right, well, we have a lot of time to deal with this.
This can come back next month.
Right, it can come back. So the other thing, I just wanted to give just a heads up. So, Tom Heller would like not to mow he mowed near the building, but he doesn't want to mow the rest of once the semi-retire, and not mow the back behind our building. So I talked to Dean Haas, and he would be interested, if we're interested, in also leasing that field. So, paying it, yeah.
I see that this contract is for 5 years. How much, I guess are Parks and Rec going to use any of that piece of the puzzle in their planning?
Well, I think
exactly
that,
where it is.
because they're not going,
It's not that piece of property?
No, that's the old.
Yeah.
oh no, but either, yeah, so, right.
So I'm only mentioning it because if that is a piece of the property that they want to develop, we probably don't want to do a 5-year contract.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Both pieces are.
Yeah.
right, yeah, that's a good point. So,
Especially if there's a double penalty for,
right, for us, because he's gonna put in seed and things, yeah.
did he put in seal?
He did at the fire department, yeah, so.
He wanted a 5-year assurance to make sure that he could recoup the cost of the preparation and the seeding of the field.
Okay.
Which is fair, but it's already now prepared and seeded, so for that parcel, I don't think that assurance would be necessary anymore. We
So,
also know that the rate that we've been paying him is in no way related to the current rate for hayfield rental.
You mean that he's been paying us?
He's been paying us not enough.
all right, I'll look into that. I'm obviously bring it back. We have a lot of time before the spring. Okay,
It's 320, it's like,
this one is, yeah, so.
Or were you thinking of planting this year?
Well, we don't have to. We would have to either just let it grow or find someone else to mow it, because Tom doesn't want to. Not that far anyway, so. And I
I will say that I see people driving golf balls and walking and playing soccer.
Prisons.
Yeah, there's recreational use of this land behind us that would not be able to happen if we had hay there.
And I think, like, as Shelley kind of touched on this, but what is the impact to the master plan?
Oh,
Should there be hay? Does that impact, does it increase costs to, go to the native prairie? So we don't talk about it now. That's
yeah, no,
a
I
question.
totally understand. Okay. All right, so let's see. Oh, public nuisance amendment, keeping you in. So we have the, I guess, updated.
So this has been in front of us before, right? Last meeting?
Yeah, we did. Like, Sri was gonna take it to the attorney and then.
Right, I think we didn't discuss in detail, but because one, I wanted to take it back to the attorney and get their final review. And then two, there was one revision, planning commission suggested you guys look into it, and I added that to the packet as well. Like, I know we're talking about public nuisance. Before I forget, I just wanted to make a quick update about the Parks and Rec master plan. Previous topic, can I?
Yeah, okay.
So we did present a complete draft to the Parks and Rec committee at the last meeting. They provided some comments, fixable, easy, doable comments. We're going to give them a cleaner revised copy at their February meeting. Once that's done, the next step would be putting it on your agenda for a public hearing and potential adoption. At that time, Parks and Rec Committee also requested that the board give them a little bit more guidance about how the matching funds or budget constraints when they're pursuing.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We'll get a little bit to that in a bit. Okay. So back to the nuisance one.
So nuisance, I think most of the revisions the attorney suggested are just mostly to just keep it less conflicting with the Right to Farm Act, and then more in alignment with other acts that talk about disposing of dead animals and such. So it's pretty much very self-explanatory. I did provide 3 versions because at the last time you did indicate that you would like to see how the changes progressed. So I had a version that talks about this is what the PC recommended, and then you have the one that talks about what kind of changes attorney made, and then you have a clean copy that shows the revisions from the current ordinance. They're pretty self-explanatory, so I can just point out to the section and then see if you have any comments on that one. So I think we're going to start with page.
Do we have to go through it one by one, or can we just all address what we think needs addressed?
However you think is best.
I think
I'm on standby.
Anyway, okay. Does anyone have a comment?
No, I was going to ask Jeff.
Well, I was gonna say, I just thought that we had already gone through most of this, and that it really went back for the attorney to look at it and to add the caveat of nothing in this
Right.
can conflict with the right to farm, basically.
Yeah, the language is clear.
So I don't know that we gotta go through this again.
I do have one
Go ahead.
thing that I would like to see changed, but I'd like to hear what you think. On paragraph 7, which is page 4 of 7, which is page 154 in the packet. So it's language from the attorney, animal nuisance. Is that correct?
Yes.
So section 7 is a long section, And in almost every case, it refers to animals, but in 2 cases, it specifically says farm animals. And I think we should remove the word farm in those 2 cases. They both happen in the first paragraph. Because if somebody's being bothered by their neighbor's animal, it doesn't matter if it's a farm animal or not. And
Okay. I think that sounds like a good idea, personally.
Should we give that?
Yeah.
I think it's reasonable.
Okay, with that change,
This time for everything. It's good.
with that change, can I get a motion to pass this?
We need to read it into the record there, Elaine, or can we just move as presented on page 2 of 2? I move to adopt
as amended.
as amended. Blah, blah, blah.
Second. Okay, this one's, okay, other discussion. All right, Shelley.
Aye.
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 Okay. Very good. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have a couple bills. Tony wanted you guys to specifically okay because they're over our $3,500 limit. She gave it to us.
Is there a page?
This was like last minute.
Is it on the table? Is this it on the table here?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Does everybody have a copy?
I don't think I do. Is something supposed to be on the table?
Is 2 pieces of paper stapled together. The first page is BS&A invoice.
It says G bills, okay.
Yeah, these were not in the anticipated bills in the treasurer's report.
Oh.
And AF group is insurance. Insurance premium.
Right.
So I would move to approve the payment of the BS&A invoice number 165868 in the amount of $7,663, as well as the AF Group invoice number 100245166 in the amount of $3,712.
I'll second. Any discussion? Okay, Brant.
Aye.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you, Jeff.
Sorry,
Oh, sorry.
I just wanted to point out, I mean, the BS&A, these look like annual service things, so I guess, I don't know if we just should have something on calendar for these. I mean, obviously, it looks like they show up at the same time. So, but that's all I have to say. Aye.
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 Okay, thank you. All right, discussion items. ZBA November and December minutes. I had something to say about this one. Try to keep it as short as I can.
Just a quick comment, like, was it on our original agenda, or when did that pop up?
Oh, Tony moved it today. I was
Okay.
gonna pull it out anyway, so that's why I just figured we put it.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so we go back
Yeah,
to,
it's in the consent agenda.
Okay.
right. Let's see. So,
Page 51. I think it's that.
oh, great.
Page 55. It was in the stewardship.
bring up something that was just slightly, I'm using this as an example of kind of, there we go. All right, I'm gonna cut down a lot of the things I wanted to say, because I think we want to keep going, but there were some irregularities with the way the ZBA, well, irregularities in the way they normally handle it, I'm not saying anything was wrong, about the way they normally handle ZBA minutes, which is now wound up with 2 ZBA minutes in our packet that don't match. But, and then I know they adopted one of them. I'm going to bring up the fact that okay, so when so Martha normally sends the minutes to Joe. This was supposed to be Tony's. Martha normally sends the minutes to Joe. Joe sends it back to Martha. Then they get approved. This one was not the same. Martha sent it to Joe. Joe made extensive corrections, which was just his job, you know. Then instead of sending it back to Martha, he sent it to Sri, Linda, I think Sri and Linda. Not sure if there was someone else. And then they were sent to an attorney for, I'm not sure what, because I haven't seen it, barely read the minutes in the packet. But I just wanted to say that that particular thing, which I was not aware of when it was happening, and cost us about $2,000 for Matt and Claire to look at Joe's minutes. When they were, so that was $2,000 we didn't have to spend, I don't think. The other thing is, so let's see, so neither person made it into the December packet, but now we made it into the January one. But so Rick and Martha came to me and Tony and asked, because of the very strange way all this happened, which minutes went into the packet? Or, and this is basically Tony's question because she has to know what records to keep, right? So Tony asked Catherine, who gave us a memo. Then someone else sent it, apparently did not like that answer, and sent it to Fahey. So I'm guessing that's going to cost us another, and he gave his own opinion, so, and then the ZBA did what it did. But so, basically, we're spending money that we did not have to spend for this. John's put it really well. So far we've been to court a couple times, we've had Martha's minutes, and we've done just fine. So I just wanted to kind of bring that up because it was just for out of the ordinary, and again, another one of those bouncing around from attorneys that I did not think was necessary. And I don't think Tony did either, but she's not here to say it. So that's all I really have to say about it. So, but now, I didn't really know what to do. We have a ZBA that does have some problems. Tony found that, and they need training. They just need training. Tony found that it's in I think it was given to everybody, this little pamphlet. There is an MSU extension course, and it's got a zoning board of appeals. It's an online course, so people can take it whenever they want. It has a lot of things, at least like in the packet, a lot of things that I think we need them to do. Learn how to hearing appeals of administrative decisions, circuit court review and standards, that sort of thing. I think that going to ask, and I kind of would like to know, I would like the ZBA to take this course, the people of the ZBA to take this course before they get reappointed. But, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna, I mean.
How long is the course?
It's 7 hours. So I just think it, I mean, hopefully you guys can come talk to me about it. I just thought it was a really good one. It looks like it had a lot of information they need, and I think they're, I mean, I'm guessing you at Michigan State does a pretty good job of teaching it. I have not done, okay.
Online, you said?
Yes, it's online. So, and we have the, there's a, in case, you know, want to look at it. Okay. I don't have a motion or anything.
So-
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about it a little bit. I'm glad you brought it up, because, I mean, the simple thing is when we're talking about the ZBA, we're talking about minutes, and we're talking about somebody that FOIAs the tapes. And generally, there's, you know, a tape that's we keep, and then we do the minutes, and then the tape gets deleted. The bottom line is, if we have somebody that has the tape, should we be keeping the tapes? And should we be getting an official transcript? Because somebody FOIAing that stuff is possibly setting up for lawsuits. And at that point, I think we have to be diligent to look at having the same material that they have. We can't destroy the tapes. So, and I don't think we have any, I don't know what our procedure is, but I think we need to have something in place if we don't.
Okay.
With regards to that.
We do have, for the tapes, you can correct me if I'm wrong, we do keep them when someone FOIAs them. We do not have a procedure right now for getting a transcript, but there are a lot of, you know, court reporters and other people who would moonlight and do that for us. So
AI will do it.
right, yeah. So anyway, so yes, I can definitely talk to Tony about that. I don't think. And I can figure out how much it is in case, and if it's too much, I'll bring it to you guys.
I just think if there's something like that that could be contentious, I think we need to go the extra step.
Right, okay, so yes. Any other discussion about this one?
Does this cost money?
I don't really know, because a lot of the MSU ones are free.
Yeah, it looks great, so I just, we also should suggest and remind them that the NT will pay for the NTA too.
Right.
And they also do lots of stuff, so.
Right. I mean, I'm just really,
This looks
we,
good.
you know, the planning commission has its own requirements for, they have to go for training, and the ZBA does not, so I think it's a good idea if we, I don't know, urge them to do it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm fully aware of everything that's happened. I've read the packages, I've read all the minutes.
You attended the meetings?
I've attended the meetings, so I've been all the way through to the bitter end. A couple of high-level comments. I mean, one, what we do in the future, I'm going to start there. I think, like the tone and tenor of the November meeting, it would have been hard for a court reporter and a videographer. The fact that Martha was able to do it, taking shorthand, I'm surprised the pencil didn't explode. So there was certain times in the minutes that I had trouble seeing what was there. But before I get into that, I think we should consider just having a court reporter come in for certain cases with a videographer. And this question gets answered. You know, we don't rely on Martha to try to, you know, handle the thing that's not talked about in that meeting was the tone, the tenor, and the pace was hot from start to end. She had no opportunity to ask anybody to stop and repeat themselves or anything like that. And when I read through what she did, the fact that she got all in there that she did, I thought was an incredible effort. Now that said, all the corrections, not corrections, or clarifications that were made about those, I thought were in line with what was in the minutes from Martha. There was no change, no new testimony, no new anything. And in the January meeting, for excruciating for, when did it finish? Midnight? 11?
10:45.
10:45, 4.5, whatever. They went through and picked through line by line, making sure both were balanced, that there was no new information or somebody misremembered or anything like that.
and they all agreed in the end that what was there. And the thing I was pointing out, it hasn't been mentioned, we have a minutes policy. It was put out in what, 2021?
It's in the back.
It's right. So, which then means in the general tenor is, you want to make sure it's accurate in the end. And it gets back to Jeff's point, because if it goes to court afterwards, you want an accurate record of what was there. Now, as far as how everybody interacted with the attorneys and so on, this whole thing continues to be a communication issue, in my mind, every time it comes up. And the fact that a couple $1,000s may have been spent here or there on that, granted, if we could get in front and communicate, fine. But the fact that it happened here on the ZBA doesn't rise to crisis level by any stretch. In fact, I think having the attorneys and a court reporter and a videographer there for certain meetings would be well posed. But I think they all did a great job. They picked through all of it. I thought they were prepared. They listened to the attorneys. They listened to all the information we gave them as a board. I'm proud of every one of them. They made it. And I think as a board, we should remember everybody's not going to come with the same decision we might if we're on that board. We have to support the board and its policy and its right to make the determination regardless if we might have made a different determination. The only thing that we require is that they follow the process and the resources we give to them. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Brad. Go ahead.
So the current, I believe to be current, Webster Township meeting minutes policy is in our packet. It is from 2021. I guess I would ask all of us to make an assessment as to what are the opportunities for improvement in this policy. Can we make it better? And if we can, we should. And two, is this policy being followed? I did not attend the ZBA meetings, but from my distant point of view, it seems like we probably did not follow the policy. So that says to me some training is required.
What page number is that policy?
Pardon me?
What page number?
It's 61 in the PDF packet. It's a 2.5-page policy. I think my personal opinion is that it's solid. I don't know that it's, I think there's probably room for improvement. And the only other thought that I wanted to share, I personally believe that in all cases that the minutes of any of our body's meetings need to say whether the body is a public body or an advisory committee. I don't think that that's clear to everyone, and I think if we include that in the heading of every meeting minute, it'll become clear to everyone. We'll all learn. Because it's a very important distinction. Public bodies have authority, advisory committees don't have authority.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Any other discussion about this? Okay. Didn't need a motion. Okay. So 11B, use of attorney and supervision of zoning administrator and enforcement officer resolutions. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this tonight. I do want to hear from, let's start with the attorney one. So there's two, supposed to be two, different ones. Do we have a page?
223 is what the meeting agenda says.
Yeah, but they're not the ones that you got free.
Oh, yeah, okay, so there's two. Well, there's just mine in here, but I don't know where it goes.
It showed up in an email Friday.
All right, so we don't have both. And, okay, we don't have both. Jeff and I talked about the first one, and he had ideas about, he has a different idea. So, Jeff, can you tell us what, I didn't disagree with Jeff, so. Go ahead, Jeff.
Can we talk about one and then the other?
We can't do both.
Is there only one on the?
There's only one, so.
It says
That's why.
use of attorney and supervision of
Oh,
zoning
yeah, no,
administration.
yeah, there's two.
Yeah, so they're not in our packet, they were emailed to all of us. This body made a vote at our last meeting to include it on our meeting agenda for tonight.
Absolutely.
I was just asking if we could just not mix the two together, let's talk about one and then the other if we can.
Right, fair enough. What are we talking about? We're talking about the first one.
Talk about the first one, is where
Right,
Mike was
yeah,
saying, the
Jeff-
one that's in the package on.
Right, that's the one in the packet. Jeff brought up some really good points, it's way too complicated.
I can speak to it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure where I put it, but the bottom line is, I mean, we don't want to limit people's ability to utilize the attorney, but we also don't want, just like we do with, in my opinion, just like we do with change orders or whatnot with construction, if it's over a certain amount, like ordering somebody to give us an opinion on something, so it's going to take over, 1 or 2 hours, and this is just an arbitrary number. The bottom line is we should have some kind of retainer that they have, that they're using, and then if it's going to be something that's longer than, a 30-minute conversation or something like that, then we need to talk about an expenditure for that. Having them, right now I could call up and say, hey, can you design this training for us? I mean, any of us can, and then they can turn around and spend hours doing it. And the bottom line is, we don't necessarily want that. We want them to answer questions, but giving any attorney direction that's going to be charging a lot of money, I think, just like a change order, we need to discuss it at this board.
Okay.
So, and I mean, that amount, how much it could be, that's all up for discussion, I think. But I don't want to limit people calling the attorney and asking them a question if they have it or whatnot. But I also don't think we should be directing them to do something that's a long, expensive process. Because we don't do that with any of our work orders. Why would we do it with them?
Okay, just. Go
So
ahead,
where do you, in the,
Shelley?
I'm
Just
so
because
sorry.
John only,
I'm sorry.
he's so like.
I'm just reading and trying to figure out where this applies. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The one on 223, is that the one that you provided?
Right.
And then the one that was emailed to us by our attorney from Fahey is not in our packet. Did you have a chance to read that one?
The one that they...
The one that they emailed us? The one that we... Okay. So I think we need to bring this back at the next meeting, personally. But I read both of these documents from our attorney at Fahey, and I couldn't find anything that I disagreed with. Essentially, what the model on this attorney one is, if somebody's going to communicate with the attorney, they need to do it in writing, and they need to copy 2 board members. And it's set up so that we can pick which 2 board members. So it shouldn't slow anything down, but it makes sure that people know what's being asked and what is being answered. I'm personally very uncomfortable with how much money we've spent on legal expenses. In previous years, we've had major cases go to the Court of Appeals and drag on for years, and we spent far less money in those years than we've been spending now. So I believe strongly that we have a fiduciary responsibility to be more efficient and effective with our spending on legal services. And I think that the tool that Fahey's firm provided with us would move us in that direction.
To Could you, when Fahey provided the two policies at our meeting, that's what this is.
I read
So,
it.
yeah, so this is creating, like, us designating two board members, right, who would, what I would like to see track financially, what, you know, what the cost of all of these requests are, so that we know, and we can get a better idea. It's not limiting your ability to contact the attorney,
Yeah,
but it
sure.
is making sure we're not duplicating efforts. One of the things that I would like to see is there was recently, like, we paid a lot of money for a FOIA training. It feels like we could have gotten a FOIA training free. You know, there's plenty of them out there. Our attorneys provide them for free. So you know, those are the kinds of things I think that we could have said, let's check into what's available to us first. You know, we would see that if, whoever the board members would see that when that request got made. Yeah.
So why didn't it make it into the package? We moved it Wednesday. We have the material.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering that too. Other stuff made it into the packet that got changed today.
I just would like to highlight the fact that in this case, the attorney went out of his way to include language that says specifically that we're not taking anybody's statutory responsibilities or anything. Everybody maintains all of their statutory responsibilities.
Yeah, right, so it's the statutory responsibility of this board to make this policy. There's nothing in state law that includes it or gives it to any other officer.
So I would like to make a motion to postpone consideration of this document until next month's regular meeting.
I will second that. And I did not have anything to do with the fact that we don't have the other ones. So,
So I think we can do better with the attorneys and moving in that direction we need to do.
okay. All right, anybody else on the motion?
My discussion is, I wish we weren't waiting. I would approve that. I'm comfortable with this language.
In fairness to people who don't have it.
Yeah, as we
and it wasn't
discussed
in
it
the
and
packet.
with the attorneys. You know.
And honestly, I got a chance to read it in closed session, and then half of it was gone.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Okay, so, okay, all in favor?
Nay.
Nay.
I
Okay,
guess we need to, roll call.
yeah, I guess we'll roll call. Okay.
Nay.
Aye.
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 Nay.
Okay, so the next one, which we also don't have, I don't think, unless someone, probably John has.
Supervision of zoning administrator and enforcement officer.
So this would have been in the same email.
It was.
So the only thing, okay, so I do have one thing about this one. I think that we should have two, one for Chuck and one for Sri. Their duties are separate. Some of the things, like a planning commission overseeing Chuck, doesn't make a lot of sense. And that was it, like, I just split them in half, and then talk about them separately. So, I guess I'll move, because we don't have them, to postpone this until the next meeting.
Can we discuss? Is there any discussion?
Someone has to second it first, then there's discussion.
Discussion.
I'll second.
Okay, discussion.
No, well, the couple comments. I mean, there's some emotional behavior that's been in the office for the last 2.5 months. It's a great concern. And I think there needs to be a time where this responsibility is removed to some of the board members. There's comments that were made earlier. You know, my general view about executive authority is actually expansive. And I think the officers should be conducting the business of the township day to day within policy, within reasonable policy limits. Now, when that fails, that's when I think things like this start showing up. And I haven't had any concerns prior to November, after the fateful ZBA meeting, and then all the drama started. At that point, it was obvious that it wasn't getting any better, and I thought the board could step in and put something in place that addressed a couple of things. There's one, there's that issue, but the second is we worked so hard on all of the ordinances and so on, and I repeatedly have
have heard from zoning zoning enforcement officers, even prior to Chuck, but I can't enforce that. Is the general comment. And that goes off like a bomb in my head. I say, well, why? And so is it because the language of our ordinance is improper, or because the enforcement officer is either uncomfortable with the ordinance for some reason? I mean, so in both cases, when it's zoning related, the zoning administrator, regardless of who's there, is a true expert in that area. I think there should be interaction. I think it should be the enforcement officer's call. He should be empowered. The same way we talked about decisions from the ZBA, the enforcement officer should be empowered and supported in that regard. But I'm sensing sometimes when he reads the ordinance, he's not sure exactly what's in there or why it's in there. And there's this, a natural hesitancy, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to enforce it. And then it dies. There's no corrective action that's taken. Like one corrective action could be, well, maybe we need to revisit the ordinance. Or the other corrective action, it could be, like use Chuck as an example. Chuck, well, do you understand why we wrote it this way and what we're asking? Or this is what we're expecting. Did that happen? And he may say, yeah, it happened, and I feel that way. I checked with all the circles that we should go through, and then checked all the boxes, then fine. He makes the determination and we move on. But right now I'm sensing that's not happening. So if you put that all under one umbrella, that they work together in an integrated way, it's this team's job to make sure that happens. So I think it should go together as written.
Okay, for Brant, I agree with I remember that part of it where they're supposed to talk to each other and, share information and things like that. I'm not going to put words in Chuck's mouth. All I will say is that we have talked. Part of the thing is he is the one who has to sign it, and he's the one who has to go to court. So if he doesn't feel comfortable signing it, then we have to figure out someone else to sign it, and I'm one of them too. So I certainly don't have a problem looking at it myself. So I like the coordination part. I think they should be both policies, but I mean they are very different animals. So that's why I think they should be broken down. Okay.
I don't feel qualified to necessarily make an assessment as to a judgment by an enforcement officer who has decades of courtroom experience, and he knows what the next step and the next step and the next step is. So maybe on its face, I can't see why he doesn't think that we should pursue a particular complaint or a violation. But I have faith in Chuck, based on his knowledge and experience, that he knows what we can win on. I mean, we've been fighting in court over a civil infraction for ages and ages and ages, and we could have saved a ton of money if somebody a long time ago said, we can't win this. Maybe we can win this. Maybe it's a bad example, but I do think that the two rules are different, and maybe the language would be extremely similar, but maybe there might be some important differences.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, do you think, I hear both of you on this, but the counter to that is, I can respect him saying that he can't enforce it because he doesn't think it'll clear the court. That makes sense to me. But what I need to know as a board member is, can he not enforce it because it's the way our ordinance is written?
Yes.
That's the issue that we need to know. That's where the coordination that comes into play for whoever is, working with Sri to kind of make sure that that information comes to us, that we get it, so that we can prioritize with Sri what do we need to fix now? What's on the list and where does it all fit into all of this? That's the piece of the puzzle. I think that's,
Okay.
in there.
Okay.
Shelley and I were on the subcommittee that did the surge, and there were applicants who would love to have done planning and zoning for us who would not take the job if we required them to do enforcement.
Oh, yeah, no way. They were like, I don't do that, that's not my
Yeah,
thing.
we won't
Which I
do
get.
that.
Well, they're different. I mean,
They're different.
They lead to, or complement one or the other, and they should work together in conjunction if there's issues and for clarity and things like that. The thing that I'm hearing is if there's something that's unenforceable or there's an issue, just like Shelley mentioned and Brant mentioned, those things should be written down. Why we're having an issue, and is what the issue, just like we talked about with the ZBA, if they have a whole bunch of cases with one thing, then we need to talk to the planning commission about it. And then the planning possibly needs to look at it. There needs to be that communication. I think the same thing needs to happen with enforcement. If they're having an issue and saying, you know, or getting a bunch of calls like this is a problem, but it's not a problem, then we need to address it and say, is it something in our language? Is it something that's just not enforceable in general? So maybe it comes out of the zoning. We need to address it and possibly, you know, set milestones. Every 4 months we look at it, every year, like we do with the planning and zoning stuff. But just having somebody saying we need to know why. Why is this the case? And I would agree. I think Chuck knows a lot of stuff about criminal law. Yeah. I'm going to say, but ordinances are a little bit different. So,
and hence the reason this was written.
Yeah. So
the point is that Chuck makes the call.
Yep.
If he makes the call one way or the other and it's bad language, we want to know. And if Chuck is for whatever reason uncomfortable because he's been doing other types of work where there's a zoning nuance, he should have that resource available to him. And that's what this document accomplishes, and that's what that management body would also be tasked with making sure that communication's open. But then ultimately it's Chuck's call, and we support it.
Okay, so, and just to let you guys know, it would not be a problem. Chuck is very thorough in his reports about why or why not. The two of us, mostly Chuck gave it to me, and Mike started it, was like a policy. You guys had already said, you know, we want to change, like, you know, we don't want to, like, what do you call it, ignore, what did you say, blatantly,
oh, yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
I mean, part of the things that we've talked about is if there's something that's a blatant violation, you know, you're building a big top right next to the road and we don't allow big tops here. Ignoring it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be waiting for somebody to complain about it. If there's something that's right there in the public eye,
well, I
think you gotta address it.
Okay, yes, and basically Shereen, I talked about this too. There are some things I think have to come here. Like, for example, if we decide for some reason there's somebody who's claiming right to farm, we don't think so, we send it to like MDR, they don't think so, that's still, so yes, we would want to write the ticket, but that exposes us to a lot of potential. It's kind of like with those guys. If we lose, we pay their attorney fees, right? So that is going to basically be an automatic come to the board anyway. So I think we need to talk about what else we want to come straight to us, and that makes any sense. But yeah, so, okay.
Yeah, and just remind us, this is about supervision, not functionality.
Yeah, right.
So whether it's one document or two, they clearly are interrelated and must be in whatever that language is. If it's one document or if they're two documents, they need to correlate,
Of course.
interact, and engage with one another.
Okay. All right. So
That's the last thing I'd like to have some understanding as to why these packages didn't make it into minutes. We had a meeting last Wednesday. We all moved to put this on the agenda. They were paper copies given. So is that the clerk's function? Tony's not here. How does that happen? The clerk was made aware that there were going to be additions possibly coming out at that meeting. Then we get here, and now it's a procedural thing that we can't take action because it's not even in the package. want to say it's coincidence, but I find it odd. So, well, how does that happen? Whose responsibilities? We moved as a body to talk about this.
Good question, Todd.
It is the clerk's responsibility to do the packet.
So I'd like to make a note that I'd like to hear a response from the clerk's office as to why this was done.
Okay. Okay.
I think, I'm just gonna say, you know, we put off the decision about the legal, resolution because we don't have it in front of us. And we have a little bit, I guess, time to kind of make that decision. In the meantime, though, we've already wasted way too much time with the supervision discussion. It's gone on way beyond the 30 days that we were given to figure it out. And I don't feel comfortable leaving the supervision the way it is for the next month while we come back here. So I feel like we do have to have a resolution about what's going to happen now.
I do concur with that. Because this has been something that's being pushed for the last 2 months. I agree.
The supervisor has the superpower of calling special meetings all by himself. However, 4 trustees also can call a special meeting. So if 4 trustees wanted to call a special meeting for this topic, we, four of us have the authority to do that.
Okay, so moved.
You need 4 people.
Well, we have a motion still on the board.
Oh, sorry.
Right now, we have a motion to postpone.
Well, we already postponed the attorney one, so we're not revisiting that. Now we have the one for this, like the, well, and basically it's like just, John's right, 4 of you in writing, send a, then we have to try to figure out a time. That's how that special meeting part works for you guys. Postpone, we still have a motion to postpone the,
Motion on the table.
Right. Okay, are we done with that?
Now I have a discussion about that. So if we vote not to postpone, we all say no, can't we just propose the resolution and see if it passes?
Yes.
There's nothing
We
that
don't
says
have it.
we can't make the resolution pass, like we can't bring the resolution up anyway, right?
All right,
Motion is
motion.
on the agenda.
Okay, all in favor of postponing?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Okay,
So it's not
It's
postponed.
time.
so it's not postponed. Oh, we did. All right. So this one's about chalk and tree. I'm basically gonna leave. Okay, I have a lot. I mean, Shree can speak up for the Shree part. The Chuck part. All right. Okay. I'm pretty clear and pretty obvious. This is from Brant, who was, worried about Chuck saying no for things. No, I did not recognize you.
Sorry.
No,
Sorry, mischaracterized my statement.
it's fine. Okay. I have something to read. So, just so you know, Brant, Chuck has told me he was very uncomfortable with the pressure you put on him about Merkle Court. So, I don't think we need to change for the policy for Chuck. Out of all the people in the office with a target on their back, I've never had a complaint from any resident about Chuck, including those who Chuck has told they need to comply with our ordinances, or the people he disappointed when he told them that we could not help with the neighbor disputes. We strongly recommend that we do not interfere with his ability to act in a manner that he finds to be appropriate. He's kept us out of at least one lawsuit that I know of. He has no problem coming to me to talk about what he's thinking, and he isn't going to object when we decide to bring something to you or to the ZBA before he makes a decision. So, pretty sure, I don't know, I'm not going to talk about what John says, but I'm pretty sure neither one of them want to supervise Chuck. or be the arbitrator between when he and Sri disagree. And none of the rest of you are kind of in the office enough to adequately do anything about the tickets or to listen to the complaints from the residents. Nor do you have time with your full-time jobs to meet with Chuck during the hours the township is open. So what do you do? Okay, so not to mention, I'm not sure why there is, again, I'm going to say this again, the whole idea of a planning commission member over Chuck is just ridiculous. They're not enforcement people, they're not zoning people. Tom. Let's see. So I also heard from, I've also heard that some of you are concerned, I think it's wrong, that Chuck's reading the zoning ordinances and applying them in order to decide whether to pursue a citation. He's a retired cop. Or for me, he has the most experience in the office reading law, figuring out whether there's something to write a ticket on. I don't really think it's a different, a law is a law, he knows how to read them. None of you went to school for evidence collection or documentation of offenses, and he's the one who has to justify our position in court. They are related activities, however, they are not the same, and the zoning ordinance separates both of them from each other. And then, I don't know how else to put this, but I am also a zoning enforcement officer, because our ordinance allows it. And so, then I'm also the chief zoning enforcement officer. And I am not going, okay, I'm not going to let you guys tell me when or when not to write a ticket either. And so I honestly think that that particular part of this should not be what this thinks about Sri. I would like to talk about the stuff about Sri next month, but if you would like to fix that part, I'm perfectly happy. But I really think we're going to lose it if we do this stuff for him. So, okay, John.
Thank you. So the policy resolution that our attorney provided to us on this topic is 3 pages. It is not in the packet. We did not all have necessarily the same opportunity to review it. I would recommend that if somebody wants to make a motion and it gets supported, that we read this entire 3-page document before we vote. And I want to remind you all that there's only 6 of us here and it would take 4 people to pass it, and I am opposed.
Can I ask a question back to the separation of the zoning administrator and the enforcement officer? I agree with much of what you're saying, but I'm wondering, when we have a team of people who are supervising the zoning administrator, could an expectation of the enforcement officer be that he meets with that team so we can get his opinion on what's not working? And we can, it's not about, I don't think any of this was about judging what he's doing. It's really about making sure when he says he can't enforce something that it's not on us to fix it. That's really what it's more about.
I do totally agree with that.
So if that was the case, then we could make a resolution that just covers the zoning administrator and does not cover the enforcement officer, but that we would just set that, or you would set that expectation with him that, that's why we're getting together and meeting.
And right now, just so you guys know, right now, Sri and Chuck do talk about these things, bring them to me, bring them to the attorney if we get stuck, but certainly, like, sharing that information is, it's going to be good for all of us, because you're not wrong, Jeff, a lot of them don't quite work together. So, okay.
Can I be recognized?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. All right, so first I'd like to say your reference to me in that statement was entirely mischaracterized. I'll talk first about when I talked to Chuck about Merkle Road. So there was a complaint that came in about Merkle, Chuck's initial response was he was uncomfortable enforcing it as written. He was asking me what my opinion was there, or what my thoughts were, and I said the private road ordinance was clear on what the road structure should be. But our old road ordinance is not well written. It refers to an old diagram in an AASHTO, American Society of Highway Safety, like from 2001. And he asked if he'd feel better about making that call if he could talk to Ted, our professional engineer. So fine, I'll call Ted. I'm an engineer. I'll take a look at it. We'll see if we can get that document. So I told him I got it. I eventually got the Ted. I sent it to him, and it turns out the AASHTO document doesn't have actually a figure. It talks generally about road drainage, but it doesn't have a figure, for example, like we have in our new road ordinance. And that was it. I just asked him to make sure he went through there. I wasn't pressuring him to make a call one way or the other. So, Mike, I have a tendency that I feel like you might have been feeding him, thinking that was my intention, and he was then becoming defensive. As far as the enforcement officers, it's their call. Absolutely. In fact, I just went through and talked about how we should be supporting them, regardless if we think we agree. I'm not going to tell him when to write a ticket or not. I just want to make sure he has the resources available to him so he can make the best informed decision he can. And then if there is a problem, as we talked about with the ordinance, we correct the language in the ordinance. And that's it. I want to empower Chuck. I don't want to tell him do this, do that, do that. So any characterization of that is wild off base.
Well, just to respond that that is not what I heard from Chuck.
And
I did not actually, didn't even know what was going on until after. So I did not put anything in his.
Thank you for that comment, but okay. Thanks for that comment. Fair enough.
Okay. Sorry.
Dan?
Dan, you're
first. Oh no, I've said way more than you so far.
I will speak to the management issue. High level, it is very difficult to provide management oversight by a committee to an individual, a contractor, whomever. I think that's going to be very challenging, and I urge us to think about perhaps there's other ways to do that. With one individual, I just think two or three is not efficient. You're going to get different opinions on what a management direction should be, and I don't think that's going to be a positive experience, my opinion.
Thanks, Dan. Okay, Chuck.
And you said that before, and I agree with you. Ruling by committee or meeting by committee is not a good thing. So I tend to think it should be a point person. That being said, I never thought Chuck and that was an issue. That was never a thing. I know it's, as I said, it's different. They complement each other, but one is enforcement and one is actually working on the rules and the other stuff that's there. So I never saw Chuck, the Chuck thing as an issue. Let me put it that way. I have disagreements with sometimes
what we should be enforcing.
What we should be enforcing and how and all the other stuff. And I don't necessarily like just complaint driven when there's stuff that's in your face. I mean, that, to me, it makes no sense. It's like, it's like a police officer saying, all right, I'm going to ignore that robbery because nobody called it in. That to me is ridiculous. But that being said, I don't think that there's, in my opinion, been any issues with enforcement. I don't know that that's been an issue. I honestly don't know why we're talking about it.
One of the things that's challenging for me is that you have 3 of us that are in the office most of the time and 4 of us that are not in the office most of the time. Jeff, you win the award for being the most in the office trustee, and you don't know that there are issues with the zoning enforcement officer, which means the other 3 trustees know even less than you about the issues with the zoning enforcement officer.
that's really one of the challenges, because I endeavor to be respectful to all of you, but I see this stuff 32 hours a week. You might see it 5 hours a week, if I'm being generous.
So are you saying that something does need to change with the supervision of the,
I'm saying that if we don't walk carefully, that Chuck will leave.
okay, but you just said there are issues.
I didn't say what kind of issues there were. I would encourage all of you, one at a time, make an appointment, sit with Chuck in his office, ask him about his job, ask him about his life experience, ask him about his courtroom experience. Get to know him. Make your own assessment.
The only thing I say, when I came up with this, it was to empower and provide more resources. It was not, and to let him be his professional. It seems like there's a tenor that it's the oversight and micromanage, and that's the last thing. Now, if he needs resources, he has a team here that he can have access to. If he doesn't need it, when there's zoning enforcement, he should have access to talk to the zoning administrator or people that are experts in zoning, if there's some nuance there, and he makes the call. Then it's not that, I'm not thinking that I have to be in there and talk to Chuck every 20 minutes. If Chuck's got a problem, anybody's a phone call away, and we can talk. He's a professional, he's been doing it for whatever, 35 or however long. And it's not micromanagement. I mean, that's a tenor that this is getting cast at. I just don't see that at all. It's the exact opposite. And then to your point, Dan, we already have 2 people managing. Mike's doing it, but Chuck's typically in there with Mike and Tony. I mean, so there is somewhat of management by committee now.
Tony doesn't manage Chuck at all. She just asks him to fix stuff. He's one of our de facto maintenance people.
Okay, so, you're right, John, I nodded here as much as you.
I didn't mean any disrespect.
No, that's okay, but if there's an issue with somebody and we're finding out about it now, why is that? If Chuck has some problems and you're worried about him leaving, how come I'm finding out about it now? How come I haven't heard, with the times that I've been in the office, how come nobody said anything about it?
Well, there wasn't a difficulty until recently.
How recently? Have I not been in since there was a difficulty? Because I was in today.
No, I mean, I talked to
And
Chuck.
I talked with both of you today.
Right. Well, there isn't, see, I think it's a little bit strange. So Chuck has full access to Sri, full access to me. I can even bounce off ideas of everyone else. No, I think it's basically due to this policy. I think he's uncomfortable with the committee. So there are, I mean, that's so strange. There are no problems with Chuck. Like, this is what's kind of strange about this whole thing. So I guess that's all I'll say.
So what's the problem with giving them more resources? Yeah, please.
Wait, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know if it's the right moment or not, but the resolution you guys are talking about that talks about my supervision, I don't think I'm aware of it. Is it based on the memo that I shared with Chris Patterson?
No, it was in the closed session.
Okay.
It should have,
Does
again,
it
John's
address the
right. It
concerns I
should be-
raised in? Does it address the concerns I raised at the last meeting in my memo I shared with Chris?
Oh, no, it's just a policy
It
thing.
will address that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. And
Yeah.
also wanted to just point out that my contract ends in March, so I won't be in attendance at the February board meeting. Severe personal conflict, I didn't tell you, I think I told Tony, I told you.
Oh, you didn't tell me, but you told Tony.
It's my son's 10th birthday, and then he made me promise I'm gonna go to dinner with him, so I can break that contract. So I did inform Tony. So I just wanted to know, we need to figure something out so that the contract goes on at least for a month while things are falling into place, because I don't want that to lapse again.
I think the contract ends at the end of March.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, not that we couldn't do it for another month, or, anything.
So that said, and then just wanted to pass my 2 cents because you recognize me, thank you. I have been talking about enforcement strategies and policies that may need to be just looked at, not because they're wrong, just because they haven't ever been looked at before. That's been a part of my staff comments in my staff report, and that was also part of the memo I shared when you were talking about my role as a zoning administrator, because my contract says I am to lead Chuck, and I said I don't want to lead Chuck. I want that to be clarified. But at the same time, I also took that opportunity to provide a recommendation for you guys to consider based on my observations working with the zoning enforcement procedures. Not Chuck as a person at all. It's just easy to say Chuck rather than zoning enforcement officer, but this has nothing to do with Chuck as a person. It just has to do with the lack of checks and balances when coordinating between zoning enforcement and zoning administration. Because of that lack of checks and balances, I just said that there may be issues in future if we don't fix the leaks. So the suggestions I made in my memo, I'm hoping that's what caught Chris's attention or what, was not fixing something that's broken. It's about just being proactive to make sure we're not scrambling at the last minute moving forward.
When I talked to you, this was not a problem. It was just
Doing it again.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It was not to correct any problem. It was to provide resources to that office. That's all. I thought he was doing a great job. It's his call. That's it. It's not to complicate the work.
I'm going to try and answer the clerk's office question from earlier. I'll do a little deductive reasoning. I just looked at the email that Chris Patterson shared these resolutions with us. It was delivered Friday afternoon at 2:08 p.m. We were closed Friday. Yesterday was Martin Luther King Day. We were closed Monday. They came in far, far after the packets had been assembled and distributed. So there was no opportunity to include these in the packet as distributed because they weren't received until Friday afternoon.
I disagree with that because we knew they were coming. We had paper copies of them that we could have kept. They offered them to us to put in the agenda. And clearly this agenda is a much different agenda than I have in my packet. And it was put on the table, along with various other things. And we voted to put this on the agenda, so it should have been on there. But I want to get us back to the point, which is we can debate I'm fine with the zoning enforcement not being part of this. I don't have an issue with that. But we do need to do something now about about zoning administration. So does that mean that we want to pass the resolution that's been given to us minus the zoning administrator piece, the enforcement piece of it? Does that mean we want to do something ad hoc temporarily in the meantime to start structuring this? What are ideas that board members have?
I think somebody needs to make a motion and see if it's supported.
Well, we can remove the enforcement portion, which is the collaboration requirements, that's section 4. After that, there's no other mention as far as I can tell. And that's it. The zoning administrator, enforcement officer shall collaborate during the investigation, issuance and prosecution phases of enforcement to ensure effective, consistent, coordinated enforcement, including information sharing, and so on. And it goes on from there. I mean, there's nothing that's probably...
Mentioned in 5A also.
Sorry,
5A, yeah.
Well, we could just make a motion where we strike everything, all references to the zoning enforcement, or the enforcement officer.
Well, I'm going to do it then. I'm going to move that we accept the resolution from the attorney and that we strike anything related to enforcement officer from the resolution.
Do you want to make anything, say anything about appointments?
I think we could, but I think we have to pass the resolution first.
Well, no, the resolution has blank spaces for 2 board members' names and a planning commissioner member who hasn't been asked.
Paul Zaluka's been asked.
Yeah.
He's offered it, he's accepted multiple times.
Oh, wait. What's the suggestion, is there, for the subcommittee to meet on a weekly basis with the CA?
It's for us to determine whatever works best to give you the resources you need and address the concerns of
I kind of, if I may, I kind of like Devin's comment. More cooks in the kitchen sometimes might slow the process down. But I like having more than one person to report to. I really like that because at the end we need a tiebreaker.
Yeah, the proposal or the resolution also says that, is this the one they have to get in contact with one of us or?
Okay, so I don't have to get everybody together.
No, that's not the intention. The intention is that you have access to people who can give you the information you need to get your job done. And so that could be Paul, or that could be,
I mean, I'll follow whatever the board decides. In the end, essentially, this fine tuning when we work on the contract together. If you're still going to have me.
Well, if we want to, to move it forward, if we want to appoint board members, I will volunteer to do this.
And I think Jeff would be an excellent one. Paul Zaluka is offered to be the planning commissioner.
No.
If I may, we don't have a supported motion.
No, we don't. There's not a second.
A second. I'll let the discussion.
Yeah, as I mentioned before, I'm willing to do it, but I also agree with Dan that the committee is difficult. I would say if we're going to go that route, there should be kind of a point person that the zoning administrator deals with, and then the other 2 give support to that point person. I don't want to see 3 people leaving one. It's a bad call.
How I kind of envision it is, if you have a question about X, then that's your go-to person.
Yeah.
If you have a question about Y, then you would go to this person, so we all kind of have the same understanding about who's the point person for what kind of thing. I'm not going to make a planning commission decision.
I agree with that. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like if you had a situation, let's say there's going to be a meeting once a week for 2 hours to go over, this are the things that are there, this is concerns you have, this is something we need to address, that kind of stuff, then I don't think that should be all 3 people sitting in there doing that. That's what I'm getting at.
That's a lot.
That's what I'm getting at. Using the other people as more resources is fine.
We're backup.
But that,
Yeah.
but I don't know that the resolution says that. That's the thing. I don't know that resolution.
It does not.
Yeah, and I think we could doctor it up a little bit. I agree, we talked about putting it on the agenda, but I think we can, but I also think that there's an urgency because this has been something that's been out there for the last 3 months. And I do want to see it get addressed.
I don't see, this is just my personal opinion, but I don't think it has to be laid out exactly how the process that it's going to go through in the resolution. I think the team that's leading it can make those decisions alongside Sri, as long as the board gets what they need from, that. But, and I am saying that specifically because I do feel a sense of urgency to make this happen.
And I'm also going to point out, and I'm glad we struck the enforcement thing. As I mentioned before, there's no way that I wanted enforcement to be under zoning, period.
So the document that we have in front of us, which is a PDF, by the way, so I don't know how we would do the mechanics of making it so that it's a suitable for passage document tonight. But it mentions the word enforcement 21 times, and it mentions the term enforcement officer 10 times. I feel strongly that we would not be doing good work if we try to cobble something together speedily tonight on the fly.
I fully agree, sorry.
Yeah, if I may, and I think even this evening, what I heard from Sri is different than what this document is saying. So right off the bat, regardless of whether it's one person or three people, there's going to be a conflict between her expectations and expectations of one or three people. And if there's a desire to provide clarity to management oversight for contractor, then it should be detailed in here, much like, you know, a contract would be. And I think if we don't do that, we're just kicking the can and pushing them. You know, we think we're solving a problem, but we're just pushing it down.
Sorry? And we do have a contract.
But it doesn't match this.
Yeah, I'd also like to add that not only that, I think whatever this says, we're gonna have to echo in Sri's contract, because hers spells out stuff too. So I think there's a little bit more to it. I don't want extra meetings, but if we need to do it, we need to do it. The thing is, can things keep running the way that they are? I mean, I wanted to see changes in the last 2 to 3 months that we've had with some of the issues, things that have come up, concerns that you know, citizens have about timeliness and Sri's schedule as far as scheduling appointments as opposed to taking open stuff, because that's taking a lot of time. Those kind of things I wanted to see some movement on, and we haven't had any movement on it. And I really want to get to that point that we are moving forward with this.
So for just to Shelley and Tony's credit, they've already started some of that with Sri.
Okay.
Just yeah. So right. Okay.
So is it possible? Is it? I agree with everything that we're all saying, but is there something that we can do, stopgap until, can we pass a resolution that somebody will supervise Sri in the meantime?
Can I offer a suggestion? I know we talked about it briefly. Maybe until you guys, we have had a chance to make sure the contract and, the goals and expectations are aligned and we come up with a clean resolution. What I would suggest is maybe assign 2 board members or whoever you see fit, that I can meet once a week and provide a summary of what happened that week, any issues that need to be watched out for, anybody who might be upset, or anything that needs to be placed on board's agenda, planning commission agenda, and then, get some guidance, okay, what do we do from here? Or give an update on, okay, this is the reasons why I needed to talk to the attorney. I called him on this matter, the call lasted 10 minutes. This one might require a week. Those kind of updates on a weekly basis, just give me 2 members for 1 month, and then we'll test it out, how that goes. And then come next month, we can fine tune everything. Just a suggestion. I know I'm speaking out of time, this is board discussion, but since it affects me, I was just wanted to help.
Okay. So we have a motion. Go ahead.
So Shelley, you want to withdraw your motion?
Oh, yeah, could I withdraw the motion or could I change it? How does that? I can't remember. I have to withdraw it, not amend it, right?
But you would withdraw it and then you would make a new one.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw that.
I mean, is that something, well, we're not discussing.
Okay, I propose that we have a temporary solution where the board determines who will temporarily supervise Sri until we can come up with a more comprehensive resolution to ensure that we are consistent with our resolution and soon to be her contract.
Second.
Now you can discuss.
Question is, can we just do that?
Did you get that?
I don't,
Nonsense.
I mean, I don't know, it's,
don't think so, but.
Can we do,
How about-
like
how about-
a stopgap?
How about this, for
Well,
this
there's
month, what, just for this month, because we talked about me and Jeff, if that's okay for this month.
Yeah, I was only suggesting this for this month, until things fall into,
Yeah,
I was
no,
only
that's,
suggesting
I mean,
that.
I think that's good, I think we have Jeff, I think that's good, but, so I don't,
and I'm fine with doing that, and then we can revisit it in a month. And
Okay, so,
I'll end up coming in,
I know, we
Figure
come in
out.
all the time.
I mean, we'll figure out a real time and I'll come in for it. We'll do that. I'm good with that.
So,
If
all right.
you're good with that, then you can, I don't think we have to make a motion for it, I think we can just.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
So
And
now
if
you
you
gotta
want to just
rescind
do
this
the
other.
motion, then it just actually says exactly what you said. But if we don't need a motion, we don't have, I'll rescind it. If we think we need a motion, I'll keep it in place.
Motions for what two board members?
I said one or two board members as the board deems fit, whatever they want, so.
So we'll select the board members after this motion.
Unless we just want to, if we think it doesn't need a motion, I can rescind the motion. I don't know.
If you don't have a motion, it won't be in the minutes.
I'll keep the motion as is then.
Okay, let's make a roll call.
I guess the motion should be which board member.
Do you want, okay, then I'll amend the motion to include Jeff Arms as the assigned board member.
Second.
second board member.
We're just doing one for now.
Second.
I'm confused.
I am too. I'd like to hear the motion read back by the recording secretary.
Playing ping pong over there.
So the motion is from Shelley. From Mayor's side, the motion is the board of trustees will determine 1 to 2 board members to temporarily supervise 3 until we get a more comprehensive resolution that matches the 3's contract. Is that?
Yeah, so then we would change the resolution to not be 1 to 2 board members, we would change it to be Jeff Arms.
She's new contract, not the current.
Yeah, yeah.
The contract, okay. And then Spanner seconds that.
Yeah.
I got one discussion, so that means you're not involved with Tony helping now?
No, Tony and I haven't done very much because we were kind of waiting out to see which board members were going to take it over.
Doesn't mean I can't talk to you about your ideas.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not upset. It's okay.
Wait, I thought that's a separate thing. This is just my day-to-day zoning administration, and Shelley and Tony are gonna work with the hours of operation and all the
And
policies.
that's good with me too.
Yeah,
That
that was
part-
still,
that
we can
part's
still do
perfectly
that.
fine. Okay.
So if I may.
Yes.
Sorry to be specific here, but I had Brant seconding that original, and then Jeff seconded something.
I seconded the
else,
second one,
And then
which
there's
you
been a revision.
rescinded and redid it. She rescinded and named somebody.
Yeah. So I amended it, the second one, yeah.
I was waiting for Brad, he didn't sign.
Any other discussion? Okay. Just a roll call. Oh, yeah. Shelley?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Good luck, Jeff. Not that you can't come in and talk to me either. Okay, so, all right, so the next thing is the health insurance ordinance from Attorney Hopkins. I guess right now, I would like to know
what the board wants to do generally with the healthcare. Like right now, you know, our ordinance says a certain thing, and we haven't really been doing it that way. Are we planning on doing hard caps? Are we, I mean, 20 hours a week, 25 hours a week, that kind of thing, just because we got to, you know, fill in the blanks part. And I don't think we haven't talked about this for a while. Like that part, you know, just the whole, because we got to figure out for the budget, and I haven't got, and sorry, I mean, it's not my fault, but I haven't gotten any information from the insurance company about a rate increase. I swear to God, I think they're waiting for to see if the, what do you call those things? ACA subsidies come back before they tell us how much we're going to pay. But I guess if we have any, because this, I think, just discussion, like, what are your thoughts as far as health insurance for employees / the rest of us? Because right now we're all on it, technically.
Yeah, I'm generally supportive. So, Mike, do you have any more clarity, like on Catherine's memo, page 6, we talked about the 3 options, hard cap, 80/20, then the exemption.
Right, yeah. And I'm sorry, part of
Yeah,
what
let's talk about one document at a time if we could.
well, I just wanted to, sorry, Rand, I didn't mean to say hard cap. I meant to say cap in lieu of insurance. Sorry. Okay, so which one are you talking about?
I don't know, John, I don't care wherever you want
I
to
think,
start.
well, okay, so let me just back up. I think one of them has to do with just us doing the every year resolution part. And then one is a broader, so I don't think we do really need to talk about that part, I guess, right now. So it's the other one where,
So
the ordinance one.
So just so I understand, the one that's talking about, there's 2 documents. One is about our ordinance, but the other is that statement that we were supposed to make.
Yeah.
The board is supposed to do. So we don't have to do any action
No,
on that right
that's
now.
March.
That would happen
we
with
should
the budget.
probably talk about the quantifications in it, just to see if we're on the same page, at least if the majority of us are, regarding
Oh, the hard, okay, so you want to talk about the hard cap 80/20 exemption part?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, perfect, okay, yeah, go ahead.
I just had some general question that, Michael, your understanding wasn't some clarity on what those 3 options were. In my initial reading, I thought 80/20 seemed attractive, but I'm not sure I completely understand what the other 2 are.
I'm going to leave that to these guys, because they do that with the fire department. You tell them, do hard cap and.
You want to do it, Dan, or you want me to? Go ahead. So the board can vote to exempt us from this. It requires a supermajority, which means 5 members would have to say yes, and that has to happen every year.
That's option 3.
Yeah. The 80/20 requires a simple majority, which means 4 out of 7 or 3 out of 5 if 2 people are absent. The supermajority requires 5 yeses no matter how many people are absent. What am I missing, Dan?
I think the 80/20, don't we have to pick that every year too?
Yes, you have to affirm it every year. We would do that typically at the March meeting.
Just help me with the mechanics. So 80% means that township would pay 80% of the healthcare premium for that individual on a given year, and the 20% that the individual has to pay.
Yes, and that's pretty much what we've been doing. That part.
I will just share some information with you. Hard cap is, I mean, they should emphasize hard with bold letters and all caps and underline. Find it. So for 2026, the hard cap for one person, so you have an employee that takes insurance and doesn't have anybody else that they're insuring, is $7,942.09. I don't know what kind of insurance you can buy in a year for that, but that's what it is. For two people, so a husband and wife, it's $16,609 and for a family, it's $21,660. It's a really low cap. It doesn't go up very fast. Typically, it goes up either a fraction of a percent a year or a couple percent a year, roughly.
Any preferences on, yeah, go ahead, Jim.
So, when we approved healthcare, I mean, obviously there was already stuff in place. But when we approved it this past year, what was it? What, I mean, was it hard cap?
I don't know,
Was it
80/20.
What was it?
80/20.
80/20.
Okay.
I think we've never, as far as I know, never done a hard cap. And I don't think we've ever, I mean, sometimes the board has done 90, but like, I don't have, as Catherine said, we don't have all the years.
80/20 is pretty standard. I mean, when you look around, that's a lot of what goes.
And if,
There's some language, I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just gonna say, like, so we don't have to do this today. If I get some, I mean, I guess you kind of got to look at the numbers when they give them to us to make the final decision. I think like the hard cap, if I kind of think about how much for John, it seems about 50%. It is a lot lower than 80. It's just because, I mean, 7, we're probably paying around 14 for Bill. Does that make sense? As far as I remember. Yeah.
There's some language in here about if somebody declines insurance and takes insurance somewhere else, that we would make some sort of effort to pay for insurance elsewhere.
That's the one we have now, I
And yeah, that's not a good idea in my opinion.
think. I think, is that in the same one?
Is that in the contributions package
I think it's the other one.
or in the board?
I think it's the ordinance. Are you in the different one?
I'm just going from memory at this point.
I think that one is in the ordinance one. So, okay. So for the other one, I'll get you more, we don't have to pick that, get you what I can get you, and then you can pick.
I like the idea of increasing the hours from 20 to 30. I don't know what on a regular basis means. If I work 30 hours a week, 2 weeks a month, is that regular? I work 30 hours a week. What is on a regular basis?
Where are you referring to there, Jim?
I think we're in the other one. Are we?
I'm sorry. Again, I'm going from memory.
I think the one just talks about, just we have to do a resolution that looks like this in pink.
Yeah, well, I like the 80/20 option.
Okay, I would support it.
The other thing we should try to get in the ballpark on is, do we want to pay a stipend for people who are eligible but say no? And if so, do we want to do a percent or a dollar amount?
Okay, so now we're going to the other one.
Yeah, I keep jumping
No,
around.
no, you're okay, because that's really that's what I thought we would talk about.
You're good on the first one then?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we'll default to 80/20 unless you guys change your mind when.
I think we have to pass this no later than March.
Right.
it would be April 1.
Okay, so the second one. So yes, right now, you guys all know this, I think. Take the insurance, you get the insurance. If you don't, right now it's based on 50% of your single premium. That's what we've been doing. That's not what was in the ordinance, but that's what we're gonna try to figure out what we want to do. Yeah, because the ordinance one is weird, like, so technically, Linda should have gotten us paying her insurance. I don't even know how it's supposed to work. Go ahead.
Can you point out where you're talking about within the document, please?
Oh, no, I'm just telling you what we do now. I mean,
It's not.
that's what we do in our,
What we do now is not documented anywhere.
no. It could be. Well, that's what I was saying. I mean, yes, we are not following our ordinance that we have.
Yes.
But we've been, 80/20 plus, and then Linda gets, yeah, okay, yeah.
So in that case, we should put 80% down on all these? It talks about,
The ordinance one?
yeah, this one.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
thinking that would go on page 9, number 2?
Looking at page 12 instead?
Yeah, right, 12. Uh, So we have to do this one again by April or March?
Yes.
I'm fine with this as written. If it's, if we agree on 80/20, and all this goes to, for everybody, 80%, right?
For that, yeah. It would be the, in lieu of contribution on 13 that we talked about before. So, I will say only one thing. I do not want to take, I mean, we don't have to give Linda more. I don't want to take away what we've been giving her now. My boy.
You could also offset it with the salary.
We could do that too, because we could, yes, you're right, we could offset it with a salary increase. So,
Okay, that's probably cleaner.
Cleaner, but then she would, of course, anybody would pay tax on the increased salary.
You know, it's taxed anyway.
Yeah, even as a regular check,
The
you still
stipend,
tax.
the stipend is income.
Might even be worse. Might even be worse. Also.
Well, it's currently allocated on a monthly basis.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, so you're not paying the whole stipend in January and then they retire in February.
Gotcha.
I guess I would,
I kind of like $1.
well, maybe I'll say something that's unpopular, but in the world of nonprofits, this feature is way gone. This has been gone for like 15 years. We don't do this anymore. We don't offer you incentive if you don't take the insurance.
I'm okay with that too.
I do understand we have to figure that out for employees who've been getting it, but,
Yeah.
I don't want to,
I agree with everybody.
I don't want them to get a decrease in pay because we changed this policy, but,
Yeah, change the policy and then cover it.
yeah.
For the right equivalent. All right.
John, oh, we're laughing.
No, with all due respect to the attorney, I think she made a mistake. I don't believe that anybody's allowed to abstain. I would strike abstain from every place where she said abstain. The only way you get out of voting is to be absent.
Or if you have a conflict. I don't know why you would in this case.
I mean, it's talking about everybody getting insurance.
If you have a conflict, you should be outside the room and not participating.
That's true.
one here. Proposal from O'Neill about
Page 195.
95.
Page
Way too
195.
far away. Okay, yeah, all right, yes. So, this one is a little strange to I can try to explain it. All right, okay, so this is done as an allowance, which means we didn't really have hard numbers for some of it. It's up to, right? So, for example, like the supervision, so I can just tell you, because I talked to Rich, we would pay, so the question is whether we want to set it up now to do the wall, to do the rest of the stuff. If we do set it up now, Rich can order the other windows, and then he will have them in, I don't know, a couple months, and he was gonna come in and basically do a lot of the work for free. Because he's gonna be in here anyway, supervising some of the outside stuff at that time, maybe it's May. So that's like 6,000 would be if we didn't do it now. The rest, let's see, oh goodness, like the drywall part is, he basically, because we don't really know what we'd be getting into. So that's, he put in 16. Let's see, the cabinet and countertop part are the window sills. The masonry part is to repair the brick. Outside here, oh goodness, the columns over there. So I guess I wanted to know what you guys thought of this. Rick, do you have anything I'm missing for this?
Is Rick sleeping?
No. You have any comments on this one? All the good or no?
For this wall,
I know what they're talking about. We talked about sagging off and sleeping and stuff like that.
use the microphone if you would.
I don't know, my opinion, the price is high, but
If we do this now, the 6,000 goes away?
Yes.
so the other thing too is.
So it's $37,000.
He's doing this at a time and material basis. It's not a big price, so if it comes in cheaper, it takes less money, so that's a good thing. But also it could hurt you too. The big thing and what they don't know is when they tear this wall apart on the inside, what the damage is gonna be. I mean, we got an idea because we tore some of the drywall off to see it, and some of the studs are rotted right off at the bottom. So, it's a gamble no matter which way you go.
Oh,
So refresh my memory as to how extensive the mold is. I know it's this wall, but there's cabinets and countertops. Is there mold?
This is all this wall.
What's the cabinet and countertops?
Oh, that's the
This is
window.
windowsills.
Oh, got it.
That's just.
I know it's weird.
Oh, fine. Sorry. Okay. You know, I think the longer you let this wait, bigger problems are going to go.
We might have to rebuild this whole wall.
Yeah, right. And that bad news isn't getting better with time.
Right. Does this include any sort of partitioning to protect the room from the demo work? When you're messing around with black mold,
It wasn't that mold, though.
I'm sorry?
It wasn't that kind of mold. Yeah, we had the mold tested. It was in a previous packet.
The wall, it was tested for mold, and they come up and said that it's not the toxic type of mold.
Okay, so you don't have to treat it like
Yes,
this.
so that's a really beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah, we would.
We wouldn't
But
have in here.
the demo may still be messy, so.
Yeah. And mold still agitates people.
For me, the only question is, do we want to ask for bids, or do we want to commit to this and move forward?
Yeah, they're here, right?
Yeah.
They're here now.
And
I'd say let's get started.
And they seem to have been doing a good job and fair with us, and
Very fair.
They're responsive.
Yeah, I was just gonna add, what kind of time frame can we expect from them? I mean,
Okay,
can
so.
they get on it, lickety split? get it
Well,
done?
okay, so they have to order the windows and the door. And the door's in here too. So, what did you say, what did it take us, like 2 months to get them?
Those doors?
Those doors. That's in the, yeah, that's the, God, I can't even read that. $4,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my other question.
So, yes, so time frame wise, so well, the way Rich was saying it is, he has to come back, can't remember if it's April or May, for out there. So he's good, because we're not done with we're done with the inside, except for a punch list. But the outside, brickwork and things like that are gonna be, like, so he would plan on when he's coming back and have the windows ready, then we would start. I mean, I guess. So.
And it's just for this wall, we don't know if we got anything here.
We didn't get anything in here. There's one, what was it? There's one Chuck's window. Yeah, Chuck's window had, when they did the moisture testing, it was, Donna's, that's done. So yeah, it would be Chuck's and then that one. Right now, nothing in there, nothing on that side. So we're correcting windows.
And we need a new door.
I don't need a new door.
Personally, I don't think you need a new door, but
Well, I mean, I don't know why the door's on here in case we need it.
I think it might have to do with the electronics.
what they're complaining about, what they're complaining about is the seal around the door. It leaks a little bit of air, but they replace the seal every so many years, and it's good for a while. So,
Have you looked at the seals on the new doors?
I'm just trying
Yeah.
I can see daylight through them.
I pointed that out several times to them.
Yeah. It's ventilation.
Okay.
I'm not opposed to it. I think we need to get it done. I think the sooner the better, just like you guys. I do question whether or not we need the doors.
You can always do doors later.
I mean, other than they might have to, I could see it if they maybe have to replace the wall or the frame, and something's wrong with it, but I don't know if that's a wood frame door or not. So I would question the door.
Okay, well, then we can
Strike the door?
strike the door.
So that's a 33,000. So I move we accept it without the door and without the supervision. So it goes to what, 33,395.
Okay, I'll second it. More discussion. Okay, again,
I just want to raise the point that Rick mentioned, that if there's structural wall components that, that's add-on, we should be aware of that. And then my comment related to the door is we're getting new windows, which will be more efficient and look better. And then we have this old door.
Beautiful.
A farm style, which the building was, kind of had that motif, but we've moved away from it.
I'm willing to amend my motion depending on whatever you two guys settle.
I'm getting new windows in this wall, but not in those two walls.
not yet. I mean, we could, the windows are,
I'm fine with adding the door.
I figure we do the windows later, the other
It's
windows.
not breaking me for adding the door. I just was wondering if there was issues with it.
Can we get some clarity on which windows are being,
These,
Only-
Just that wall, yeah.
Only the floor, so
So-
we're not doing,
No, so the fronts and the back, so the sides will be the same. Windows will be about that far up, because that's what the new ones are, to get them away from the brick. But not these yet, because,
Same width and same transits over top, the round?
yes, the outside has plastic instead of the wood stuff. But yeah, they look the same. I mean, we're gonna have different blinds, because you can't get these anymore, and they're more expensive anyway.